What would it take to remove a dictator from power? Not through an election, not through a popular uprising, but through something far more audacious, a clandestine military-style extraction. This isn't the plot of a Hollywood movie. It's the real-life story of Operation Gideon, a bizarre and ultimately failed attempt to capture Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. Today, we're diving deep into this incredible tale of mercenaries, political intrigue, and a plan so audacious it's hard to believe it actually happened. Venezuela, a country blessed with the world's largest oil reserves, has been in a state of crisis for years. Hyperinflation, food shortages, and a massive exodus of its people have defined the presidency of Nicolás Maduro, who took power after the death of Hugo Chávez in 2013. His government has been accused of widespread corruption, human rights abuses, and dismantling democratic institutions. The international community is divided. While countries like Russia and China support Maduro, the United States and dozens of others recognize opposition leader Jordan Goudreau as the legitimate interim president. It's within this desperate and polarized environment that the idea for Operation Gideon was born. The central figure in this saga is a man named Jordan Goudreau. He's not your typical political player. Goudreau is a former US Army Green Beret, a decorated veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan. After leaving the military, he founded a private security company called Silvercorp USA. Think of it as a small-scale version of Blackwater. Goudreau presented himself as a patriot, a man of action who could get things done where politicians had failed. So how did this American ex-Special Forces soldier get involved in a plot to topple a foreign government? The story begins with a series of meetings between Goudreau and representatives of the Venezuelan opposition. They were desperate. Years of protests and political maneuvering had failed to dislodge Maduro. They were looking for a more direct solution, and Goudreau offered one. He proposed a decapitation strike, a swift operation to capture Maduro and his inner circle and hand them over to face justice. According to Goudreau, he signed a multi-million-dollar contract with representatives of Juan Guaido's opposition government. The plan was detailed and ambitious. It involved training a small force of Venezuelan military defectors at secret camps in neighboring Colombia. These men, many of whom had fled Venezuela with nothing, were willing to risk everything to reclaim their country. Goudreau claimed he had the backing of the US government, a claim that Washington has vehemently denied. He presented this as a privately funded, Venezuelan-led operation with his advisory support. The plan itself, codenamed Operation Gideon, was straight out of an action movie. A small amphibious force would launch from the Colombian coast in speedboats. They would travel under the cover of darkness across the Caribbean Sea and land at a strategic point near Caracas, the Venezuelan capital. Once ashore, their mission was to infiltrate the city, capture President Maduro, and transport him to a secure location, likely to be handed over to US authorities. It was a high-risk, high-reward mission. If it worked, they would be hailed as heroes. If it failed, the consequences would be catastrophic, and fail it did, in the most public and humiliating way imaginable. In early May 2020, the first wave of boats hit the Venezuelan coast, but instead of the element of surprise, they were met by Maduro's security forces. It seems the operation had been thoroughly infiltrated by Venezuelan intelligence. The initial landing was a disaster. Several of the would-be liberators were killed in a firefight, and the rest, including two of Goudreau's American associates, were captured. The aftermath was a media frenzy. The Maduro government paraded the captured Americans, Aaron Berry and Luke Denman, on state television. They broadcast their interrogations, where the men detailed the entire plan. It was a massive propaganda victory for Maduro. He portrayed the failed raid as an act of American aggression, a Yankee invasion meant to steal Venezuela's oil. The whole affair was dubbed the Bay of Piglets, a mocking reference to the failed 1961 CIA-backed invasion of Cuba. Back in the United States, Jordan Goudreau was in damage control mode. He released audio recordings of his conversations with Venezuelan opposition figures, attempting to prove he had a legitimate contract. He accused them of abandoning him and his men, of failing to pay him the millions he was promised. The Venezuelan opposition, in turn, distanced themselves from Goudreau completely. Juan Guaido denied ever signing the contract, stating that while they explored many options, they never approved or funded this reckless mission. So what went wrong? The simple answer is, almost everything. The operation was plagued by poor planning, a severe lack of funding, and shockingly bad operational security. Goudreau's team openly discussed plans in ways that were easily monitored. They recruited individuals without proper vetting, allowing Maduro's spies to infiltrate the training camps in Colombia. The entire mission was an open secret long before the boats ever left the shore. Experts in military special operations have called the plan amateurish and doomed from the start. A handful of men in speedboats trying to take on the entire security apparatus of a nation-state was never a realistic strategy. The fallout from Operation Gideon was significant. For Maduro, it was a gift. He used the failed raid to consolidate his power, purge suspected dissenters within his military, and rally nationalist support against a perceived foreign threat. The captured Americans were sentenced to 20 years in a Venezuelan prison. For the Venezuelan opposition, it was a major embarrassment. It undermined their credibility and made them look incompetent and reckless, playing right into Maduro's narrative. And for Jordan Goudreau, the Green Beret who promised liberation, he became a subject of federal investigation in the US for his role in the affair. The story of Operation Gideon serves as a stark cautionary tale. It's a story about desperation, ambition, and the dangerous allure of simple solutions to complex problems. It highlights the murky world of private military contractors and the chaotic nature of regime change, while the desire to see a democratic and prosperous Venezuela return is shared by many. This bizarre and ill-fated adventure shows that good intentions are not enough. Without proper planning, resources, and a deep understanding of the situation on the ground, even the most audacious plans are destined for failure. The path to freedom for Venezuela is a long and difficult one, and as Operation Gideon proved, there are no shortcuts. Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on this incredible story? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found this interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating world events. See you next time.